So I'd like this car to be able to move under its own power, but I have about 4 reasons I can't do that right now. Number 1 has to do with the fuel system. I'll come back to that. Number 2, I should probably have some brakes. Usually a good thing. Not completely necessary, but we'll look at that. Number 3, I have to do the drive shaft. I don't have one. And number 4, I'd like to close the hood, which is actually tied to number 1. Why is it tied to number 1? Well, let's go back to the fuel system, where right now I have the truck intake on it. And because of that, it stands high and I can't close the hood. So I fortunately have an LS1 intake, and it's a lower profile, so I just have to get that on there and I'll be able to close the hood. The injectors, the truck and the car injectors, are different. Now, there's different style of injectors and they go by an EV number typically. I think there's an EV1, an EV6, and EV14. I believe that tends to refer to the body of the injector, the style. They also have their own electrical connectors. And while the truck uses a Multi-Tech 2 mini Delphi connector, the car uses a Jetronic mini timer injector. So the connectors are different. Now, you can buy adapters for those, but a lot of the other manufacturers also use these style connectors. For example, I have the harness off of a 2001 Dodge Dakota with a 4.7 liter sitting right here. And as you can see, that injector connector plugs right in there. Now, they do make adapters. You can go buy adapters, but I'm on a budget, as always. So, and this is more about doing junkyard swaps. So we're going to take something that has a similar style connector and get it from the junkyard, and we're going to use it to be able to mount this intake in. So let's get started. Hey everyone, well, I'm here looking at our blueprint for our Trans Am. You get bonus points if you can guess what car this is. So I just wanted to have a look and see how the throttle body and all that attaches on this car. And see what some of the fittings are. So I can have a look. That's how the injectors look and all that good stuff. Okay. So the throttle body is a little bit different than the trucks. Mass airflow sensor here, throttle body there, but not too different. Pulley system, a little bit different. I think we got pretty much the same thing sitting on the car right now. So it's all looking pretty good. Oh, I gotta get out here and clean this poor car up actually. All right. Because we're trying to keep things budget build, what I've done is I've gone and got another connector, and you can get these from your junkyard. I think these are off of a 2000 4.7 liter Dodge Dakota. Also, they're the same as the knock sensors on the Hemis and stuff like that, so you can get them off of there. And I'm cutting the injectors connector from the truck manifold, or from the truck wiring harness, and splicing these connectors in, and they fit right on. You'll see these fit right on these injectors. I think they're the EV1 injectors, and that's how we're going to resolve that on the cheap. So I'm going to solder one of these on. Get our iron nice and hot. Oh, that sucker's almost glowing. Yeah, that's good and hot. Okay. And see, I already got my heat shrink. We're going to put that as far away from where we're soldering as we can. Twist these wires together. There we go. Solder on the iron. just let that cool off, and then we'll move our heat shrink over. Like this one. That's cool enough to move the heat shrink on top now. There we go. This one should be pretty cooled off enough. Yep, no problem. So we got our heat gun here. You can also use it later, but I'm going to use the heat gun. Okay, so what we're doing is the truck has different injectors than the car. We put the LS intake on this, which is a car intake. So we're going to take these connectors. We've cut off the truck connectors from the truck wiring harness. And we've gotten these knock sensor connectors off the Hemi. I think you can also find these type of connectors on, I think, about a early 2000 Dodge Dakota with the 4.7. Might do the trick on its injectors. There's probably a few other vehicles out there, but this is what I have found to work. And if you're at your junkyard, just go grab a few of these, practice your soldering, and get yourself a cheap modification to the harness. There we go. When that cools off, we'll slide our heat shrink over it, and bada bing, bada boom, we'll hook these all up just like this. Hooks up like that. And we've got our injectors wired up. There we go, we've got our fuel injectors wired up. We've changed from the truck injector to the car injector. Got our LS1 intake on there. I think that looks pretty good for a junkyard solution. Not too shabby. I've got everything wired up to the fuse box so that the ignition can go through the fuse box. Fuel pump can go through the fuse box. And most importantly, the starter can go through the fuse box. I could fire it up, but I'm not going to because I'll scare the heck out of the cats, and the door's closed for the night. But there you go. Okay, call me a little crazy, but I don't have a drive shaft for the GTA, so I'm making one. Now, I'm just moving it around the yard, so I don't need this to hold up. I've cut in about 3 inches out of this one. It's got this nice cardboard tube in it, which will help hold it together. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up on the jack stands, put 3 of them, one under each end and one in the middle where I'm welding. I'm going to make sure it's all level and see how it goes. Very quickly, what I've done is set it up, I leveled it out, I made sure that each of the U-joints was level. Add in. That way I know that they're lined up. And when I did, I marked the shaft right here. And then I also took a straight edge, like that, to make sure that we were flat. And then I tacked it, so we're going to give that a try and see what happens. Cut 3 inches out of this bad boy. Just cut her right there, took 3 inches out, welded her back together. I just got to get this off now. See if it works. Assuming everything goes right, you should see this wheel move. Let's find out.